protect this house. I'm in a huddle talking to the Hawks. We gonna run it down their throat soon as we get the ball. I'll come out and fire off the ball, we going on one. My skill position so proficient, break for long runs. Come out running that option, that mean I got the option to keep that or pitch that. Defense, they gotta fix that. Full receivers, we spread them out in the shotgun. Hot reads, I got some. My tight end so awesome. Touchdowns, I toss some. We score 6, scoreboard, that score 6. Respect the ball, we protect the ball. We don't fumble, no throw picks. I feed my linemen pancakes, so all they blocks are pancakes. Push you around like all night. End of the game, get your handshakes, huh? My helmet on, pass strap tight. My jersey shining in them Friday night lights. Win. We just came to win. Win. We just came to win. Friday night lights. Ballin' Friday night lights. Ballin' win. We just came to win. Ballin' win. We must protect this house.
And welcome to the Ronaldo Automobile post-game show with our one and only Reverend Dennis Davis in the house. And I'm your choir director, JP.
There you go, Jay.
Unfortunately, we're the only two here right now.
Well, Terry's here, but he's busy putting up scores. Can I get an amen, though, for Terry?
Amen!
Amen, Terry. All right. Well, welcome to the Ronaldo post-game show. JP and I will be on the mics. Terry's still getting some scores, and he'll be in a little bit later. Will, if you're out there, come on home. Kevin's up in Asheville. He's proceeding down. And Joel, you can breathe out now and come on into the station and tell us all about the Kings Mountain game tonight.
Woo.
Well, first thing we need to do, JP, is give them some scores. I'm going to start with what was a very, very exciting game here between the North Lincoln Knights and the Burns Bulldogs. And we have a final in overtime tonight. Congratulations to the Burns Bulldogs, 30-27 over North Lincoln Knights. And we've got the Shelby Golden Lions tonight over Terry Reinhardt's West Lincoln Rebels tonight by a score of 42-7. Sorry, Terry, basketball season is here. But you got a great wrestling team. And Kings Mountain, whew, hey, who would have thunk it, JP? Kings Mountain tonight, your hometown over here.
I was getting a little worried when they said it was 2-10. I was like, oh, please let them win.
It was 2-0 and 3-2. I thought, what ending is it?
I don't know.
But the final score tonight, the Kings Mountain Mountaineers 17, AC Reynolds 10. So congratulations. Kings Mountain will move on next week, I believe, and take on Charlotte Catholic.
That's what I heard, yeah.
Down at Charlotte Catholic, and Terry can tell you that ain't no fun when you go down there and have to run that gauntlet coming out of the locker room up there. They, for a bunch of Catholic religious folks, they sure do get nasty on the teams coming down through there. Speaking of Charlotte Catholic, they won tonight over West Rowan, who beat Crest last week, 42-7. I was looking forward to Catholic coming to Sid Bryson Stadium this week. Maybe I ought to be glad they didn't, because they won 42-7 tonight. Northwest Cabarrus. Weddington tonight, 49-7 over them. Coach, here's my man right here. Will.
There he is. There's
Will. Aaron Rogers Boykins. Come on in, Will.
I took your spot.
Weddington tonight over Northwest Cabarrus. Will, sorry to hear that. 49-7. Watauga tonight over Mount Tabor, 35-13. Understand Lance Ware's son plays up there at Watauga now, and the coach that went over to Louisville, his son played for him until he messed up his leg, so he's out for the year. Well, Mountain Island Charter went up tonight to Senator David Diamond Stadium up there and got beat by East Surrey tonight, 26-14. It was the Thomas Jefferson Fighting Griffons over Elks tonight, 35-14. It was West Stokes over Mountain Heritage tonight, and Terry says that's a little bit of an upset, Will. 28-22. It was Reedsville, the 20-time state champions, in case you were wondering, 24, Brevard 7. It was Robbinsville, another tough team, over Murphy, another perennial tough team. These boys have state championships by the bushels up there, but it was Robbinsville 24, Murphy 13 tonight. Don't have Swain County and Mitchell. That's another mountain slobber knocker, Will. Will, how about you taking that last board over there for us?
All right, it was East Forsyth over, what is that?
Ragsdale.
34-21. It was Grimsley over
Winston-Salem
Glen 32-8. Vance over West Forsyth 35-7. Dorman over Gaffney 30-6. Who's it? Dutch Fort over
Tommy Knotts.
Carolina. Is that Carolina?
Carolina Forest.
Carolina Forest. 45-20.
Tommy's still doing it, isn't he?
Tommy Knotts.
He will roll you and control you. And in the end, I don't know how many state championships he's won in North and South Carolina. They won, like 7 in a row in North Carolina, Terry? They were pretty good. Well, Will, it's good to see you in here tonight, and you're looking good.
Thank you.
Did you go to a game tonight?
I did not. I went to work tonight. I've been at work.
How many did you sell, Will?
Well, we came out with 2, so we did all right.
Well, that's not a bad night.
We got a few more, promising looks tomorrow.
Very good,
from
Will.
Today.
Hey, and I got a little something for you tonight. Did you have a good Thanksgiving dinner?
I did.
Well, we got ham, turkey, dressing, and gravy from Sagebrush back there.
How about that?
They done us good. I didn't really have a Thanksgiving lunch. And so, man, I sat down and I just gobbled that up. Gobble, 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 gobble.
Little gobbling ain't wrong. Ain't nothing wrong with a little gobble.
Little gobbling.
How about that Burns game tonight?
Oh, I thought that's where you might be since you get on there on that Wednesday show and talk about.
I thought, my thought was, I'll go to work and then I'll sneak out a little bit early. Black Friday happened at Nissan shop. Happened at work today.
Black Friday.
Yeah, so
how appropriate.
We ended up at hanging out a little longer than what we normally do. So.
Well, you don't mind hanging around if people are buying it.
Well, I don't mind hanging around if there's people there. You always like to make a new contact and a meet and greet.
Will I be seeing some pictures on Facebook tomorrow? Another happy customer?
Absolutely.
So if you want your picture on Will's Facebook, go down to Nissan of Shelby and look for Will and make a purchase, and he'll put you on his Facebook.
Yeah, I'll put you on my Facebook.
All right. Well, Will, let's look at those scores and give me your impression of what you saw tonight.
Exactly what I expected out of the Shelby West Lincoln game. West Lincoln had a great season. I think they just got overmatched there. And Shelby is being Shelby. They just doing what they normally do. A little bit surprised at the North Lincoln game.
Yeah.
I thought once Burns started taking control in the second half of that game, I thought they would roll pretty easy. They came out of the break and scored 14 unanswered, and I thought they had opportunities to score some more. There was a few drop passes in there. The West Row End game, I expected a better game out of them versus Catholic.
Yeah, I was. Of course, when you've been to Catholic and you know what it's like down there.
Yeah, but I just expected more. And it may be because it was such a big win for them last weekend.
Yeah, but if you think back, they may or may not have won last week. But I was looking forward to
I agree.
I was looking forward to Catholic coming to Sid Bryson, because outside of Keffer Stadium, I think they're not as good.
That's not.
You talk about some home cooking. Sagebrush isn't the only place that has some home cooking. I think when you go down there to Charlotte, you get a good dose of it because
Well,
those stands are about 10 feet from the sideline.
That's it when you getting off the bus in Belmont ain't the only place where they know how to get some home cooking.
You behind 14 points when you get off in Belmont.
I think
And you
you're down
behind
21.
at least 14 or 21 when you get off down there in Charlotte. I tell you what, I feel sorry for the Kings Mountain boys having to run out of the locker room next week and go through that gauntlet at Charlotte Catholic because they'll spit at you and throw stuff at you and cuss you. I guess
Hey guys,
then they
we
go
got
to
Steve DeGree on the line.
Yeah, just a minute.
I think that's the good old Catholic way.
But then they go to
King.
midnight mass and get forgiven of their sins. All right, Steve DeGree, talk to me, buddy.
How about them hoes, baby?
Oh, right. I knew you was going to tell me his ball on the up front in the line, Steve. But tell me how. What was your impression of the game tonight? Both sides, please.
Well, actually, I'm being straight up. Our offensive line really controlled the line of scrimmage tonight. I guess they thought we was going to run it, but West Lincoln was only running a three-man front, and they weren't covering our A gaps. So we took advantage of what they gave us, and we just ran hard. And all of our offensive linemen, we had a few mistakes, Dennis, but you win championships with your offense and defensive line.
Right.
And tonight, the five guys up front, they controlled the game.
Well, Steve, I noticed one thing tonight, and you correct me if I'm wrong here, just from my eyesight as somebody who was sitting in the press box and watching it. I thought Shelby had more penalties than you would normally expect out of a Shelby team, and West Lincoln had some penalties too, and there were mistakes on both sides. I'm talking about things like missed tackles or this, that, and the other. I know that Shelby, and allowing that score of 7 where they ran the ball back on them, it was just somebody who was not covering their assignment and left a gap, and zoom, he was gone.
Yeah, but see, because when you run an option like that, everybody's got a man. You got to do your assignment. And the guy cracked down inside, the quarterback went outside, and it was nobody there. And one guy missed the tackle, like you said, and he took it like 65 yards to the house. But, yeah, we made a lot of mistakes, too. But you got to have something to work on. We have some illegal procedures and offsides and stuff of that nature. But luckily, it didn't hurt us during the game.
Well, I thought that the West Lincoln Rebels did a decent job of putting some pressure on your quarterback tonight that I had not seen a lot of teams be able to get to him and cause him to throw some balls that were incomplete and some other things. I don't think they had an interception tonight, Steve. At least they didn't in the first half. Did they do better in the second half?
But see, what they actually was doing, they was rushing 3. Once our lineman, then they would send a linebacker at the end. They would send the number 15 at the end, and sometimes he go free. So Isaiah had to step up in the pocket and complete the passes. But once we got in the red zone, we picked number 95, Santana Flat, in the backfield. And, brother, somebody going to get run over when that young man comes towards your way. And I think they might have called that formation 95. Santana did a great job offensively, and he also done a great job defensively.
Well, I thought there were some plays that I questioned, Steve. I know when your quarterback was down there one time, I thought the guy tackled him, head first. That should have been a penalty. There was another situation over there on the Shelby sidelines where about 3 of the West Lincoln guys took him out of bounds, and instead of being a personal foul on West Lincoln, it turned out to be a holding on Shelby, which I didn't see. But anyway, Steve, there were some of that going on all night. It was not the sharpest Shelby team, even though it was 42-7. But I thought a lot of that was because West Lincoln played their hearts out. No, they were going a lot of those kids both ways. I thought you had more athletes, and that's the difference in the score tonight.
Yeah, we had overall more team speed. In that one particular play, what got us going when they punted the ball, and Harvey took it on the dead run and went down the sideline on it. So sometimes, Harvey, he take chances that the coach will say, no. Okay, yeah, good play. But, you know, he just trying to make a good play. And as a coach, you know, you just have to take your good with the bad. But mostly Tahari makes the right decisions on stuff like that.
Well, Steve, I want to jump ahead. I know you like to take it one game at a time. This game's over. As you probably have heard, Burns beat North Lincoln tonight in overtime, 30-27. So it looks like a rematch between the Golden Lions and the Bulldogs. What's your first thoughts on that game next week?
Well, you know, you hate to play a team twice.
Yes.
And also, I'm going to be like Ric Flair. In order to beat a man, you got to beat the man.
There you go.
And right now, the Golden Lions, we're the man. so we can just contain Pryor and just do our assignments again. But of course, you know, Squeeze has got a lot better too than since that first time we played them. So we got to play our A game because Burns going to come in here flying high, and I know Coach Devine going to give him a great speech. I don't think they've went this far since he was on the team in '94. So he's gonna give him that good pep talk, and it's gonna be a great football game. And I'm just gonna tell everybody, Cleveland County, you better get there early.
Well, that's what I was fixing to say, Steve. I know where I'm going to be next week, and I think I know where probably 10,000 of my friends are going to be next week. On both sides of the field, they're going to be there to see the Golden Lions versus the Burns Bulldogs. I thought the West Lincoln crowd tonight was good, but I'd like to see, you know, we're getting down to brother on brother right now, Burns and Shelby. So this is for all the bragging rights in Cleveland County. And whoever wins this game, I think, Steve, stands a very good chance of bringing home one of those big trophies from the championship game.
Can you imagine? I think I've told the sheriff this before. Like when he go to these sheriff's conventions, that he could put his county up against any other county where football goes. You know, and have bragging rights because you know Cleveland County, this football country, man.
I remember being in the Senate back in '94, and I had two plaques. One that Ron Green gave me, and one that I got from Mike Stewart. And they both said state championships, Burns Bulldogs and Crest Chargers. And those guys down there knew where Cleveland County was. And if Shelby had got one, they would have probably voted us out of North Carolina, to be fair to the other teams. But anyway, next week I think we're going to see a prelude to a state champion. You guys have got the guns. Burns has got the determination. It's going to be, Steve, what we call a slobber knocker.
Yeah, it's going to be a great football game for Cleveland County fans and the whole state of fans. I can't wait. I just can't wait till this game come. And Coach Devine, he's a great guy. You know, before he went to Burns, he was at Shelby for a long time. He going to know what we do. We going to know what he do. You know, it's brother on brother. I just think a lot of Coach Devine. But, you know, I'm a Golden Lion, so Golden Lions, as long as we win by one, as long as we win, that's all that matters.
As long as we win. If you win by a half a point, as long as you win.
Yeah, we got to have an A game because they're going to be coming for us.
Well, Steve, we appreciate your call. I'm sure there'll be a lot of hype this week on bulletin boards and internet boards and radio talk shows. Will's probably going to get over there and this weekend.
They might kick me out of Lincoln this week.
And rub it in a little bit on some of our Lincoln brethren. But, you know, regardless of who it was, North Lincoln, Shelby would have been great games. Burns and Shelby's going to be a great game. I just wish we had another Kings Mountain Crest rematch. But Kings Mountain's got to go down to Catholic and take care of those folks down there.
Yeah, it's going to be a tall task, but like I said, I'm a Cleveland County man, so I hope Coach Lloyd can go down there and pull the victory out, and we can get at least we have two Cleveland County teams playing for the state championship. And regardless of who wins, I'll be down there cheering for the Cleveland County team. But I got to go with the black and gold. And one of the things, Dennis, before I leave, remember the Hogs, the Shelby High School offensive line. That's what won the game tonight.
Well, you know, Steve, they say that defense wins championships, and what wins defensive championships is the line.
Yeah, they did a great job tonight. Jack Hollifield had a lot of tackles. Except for that one play that let the guy get go. Jack had double figures in tackles, and Santana Flat, like I said his name before, he played a great game. And number 16, Nick, he played a great football game. And I'm just telling you, the guys, they was ready. We ran a 5-man front, too, this game, Dennis, to took one of our corners out.
Really?
And, yeah, we started Santana as a defensive line. We took one of the corners out to stop the run because he hadn't thrown 73 passes all year.
I started to say that's good coaching because you knew that they were vulnerable to not throwing the pass, and therefore you could just stack the box on them.
Well, I don't know if that 15 guy got this 81 yards. I think Terry said if he got 81 yards, that he would break the Lincoln County record. But I really don't know how many he got. But that kid is tough. He can play.
Congratulations to the West Lincoln Rebels on a good year. Congratulations to the Shelby Golden Lions on an even better year. And we'll see what happens between the Lions and the Bulldogs come next week.
Also, hey, Dennis, this 10 straight years the Shelby has played after Thanksgiving. 10 straight years.
Well, Steve, that's a mark that you enjoy. You know, you're not getting real serious until you're playing after Thanksgiving. Once you've got a belly full of turkey and then you're playing football, it's good to go.
Thank you, fellas, for what you do. We'll see you next Friday.
All right, I'll be there, Steve. All right, Will.
JP?
We got anybody else
on the line?
No one's called yet.
Okay.
No, well, give them the number 704-482-1390. What else we got over in Lincoln County? We'll hear from some of the Knights who had a great season. Ended a little short tonight against the Burns Bulldogs. Some of you Burns folks on your way home, you got cell phones. We can pick it up right here. Call us at whatever number you want to call us at. Sounds like we got a caller, Will. Let's see who this is.
Who you got, JP?
He's on.
Bobby.
Hey, Bobby.
Yes, sir. We did it again.
Well,
what about
Bobby,
them Shelby Golden Lions?
you probably just heard Steve Degree on, and I imagine the two happiest guys in Cleveland County tonight, other than the Burns Bulldogs, would be you and Steve Degree.
Well, you know, Shelby just went out there and just played hard, just like Steve Degree said. We loaded up, and whatever they had for us, we was ready for it. And it proved that Shelby won.
Well, I looked out on the field, Bobby, before the game started. Those boys had some pretty good size. They had some pretty decent speed, you know, for a football team. But when you go up against the Shelby Golden Lions, you better have a lot of speed and a lot of size if you're going to stop them Lions.
Yeah, well, you know, it seems like Shelby's just they're getting bigger and better. And they're just proving that they can play football against anybody across Cleveland County and the state as well. You know, we moved the football, and defense played well, the offense played well, and I just want to commend Shell Gash for the good job he did tonight. I was telling him he did a great job tonight, and I was just happy with the way they played tonight. They played the whole game tonight. And yes, we did make a couple of mistakes, but I'm sure they'll work on it and they have it ready to be for Burns next week.
Well, Bobby, you've been around this football game a long time, and you've seen a few things. And the Burns Bulldogs and Coach David Devine, a former Shelby assistant, are going to be back in George Blanton Stadium next week. Give us your take on how you see that game going.
Well, you know, I was just telling my brother David Burston that there's one thing for sure. It don't matter who Shelby plays. They're going to be ready to play football, whether it's Burns or Chris or whoever. North Lincoln or anybody, even if they had to play them, they would have been ready just as well. And I commend them for the spirit they got. And Shelby's just hungry, ready to play football. Yes, I know we got a good team that we'll be playing against next week. Of course, the Burns Bulldogs. And one thing, I'm so glad that Shelby's coach, he as always he stood on top of everything tonight. And of course, there was a couple of bad calls made in the game, but nevertheless, the Little Lions prevailed and won tonight.
Well, Bobby, I can say this probably for the last 10 years. If you wanted to contend for a state championship from the western part of North Carolina in the 2A ranks, you had to come through Shelby at some point or the other. And most people didn't get out unscathed because Shelby will be going for their 7th championship here in the last period of time. And Burns, if anybody would like to keep Shelby from winning that next championship, it would be the Bulldogs up at Burns. They haven't had one since '94, and I know they're going to be hungry when they come to town. Should be a great game, Bobby. Hope you'll call and tell us your side of the story next week.
And again, I just want to commend y'all for the fine job that you do, and we know that it's going to be a good, strong matchup between two good teams up next week at Shelby High School.
It'll be for the Cleveland County 2A Championship.
Well, all right, we're going to look forward to it. And as I said, we know that the Golden Lions is going to be ready to play. And, of course, the Burns Bulldogs is going to bring their A game, and we're going to bring our A game.
All right. Well, Bobby, we appreciate your calling in. Now maybe we can get Tom Centofanti to call in and give us the story on Burns tonight and his predictions for next week as well. But thank you, Bobby. Hope to hear from you again next week.
All right. We'll look forward to it.
Thank you very much, Bobby. Appreciate your call.
Thank you so much.
Hey, JP, we got some lines open in there. Give those folks a number that they can reach us at.
You might want to do it because I can't. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I know the Shelby number. It's 704-482-1390, and I'm not sure about the Lincoln County number, but it's in there somewhere. Give us a call on those. We'll put you on. We'd like to hear from the West Lincoln folks tonight who made the trip over to Shelby. Congratulations on a great season. For the folks at North Lincoln, same thing. It was a loss tonight in a tough overtime game, but give us a call. We want to, hear your thoughts on the North Lincoln and the progress they've made in the last couple of years since Coach Basil has been over there and the success that they've had. Looking forward probably to continued success. And, just give us a call here at the station. We'll talk a little football. Whoever your team might be, we'll even talk to the folks from Watauga if they want to call in. Kings Mountain folks, if you're back in radio range now, give us a call and tell us about an exciting game up at AC Reynolds tonight. We were talking about home cooking before. Sagebrush is not the only place you can get some home cooking. They sometimes have it up at AC Reynolds as well. And when Kevin gets back in range, I'm sure he'll give us a call and a report on that. But in the meantime, Joel and some of you loyal Kings Mountain folks, give us a call and let us know your take on the Kings Mountain Mountaineers live to fight another day victory tonight over AC Reynolds. Let me run these scores that we've got again right quick, and then JP will take a break after we finish the scores. North Lincoln tonight fell in overtime to the Burns Bulldogs 30-27. Shelby Golden Lions tonight over West Lincoln Rebels 42-7. Kings Mountain prevailed in a slobber knocker up at AC Reynolds 17-10. It was Charlotte Catholic edging out West Rowan tonight 42-7. It was Weddington, the 3A, I think, potential state champion, JP, beat Northwest Cabarrus tonight 49-7. Watauga over Mount Tabor tonight 35-13. It was East Surrey up at Senator David Diamont Stadium. David used to be the coach up there for many, many years as the head coach. All the time he was serving in the Senate representing that area. And East Surrey beat Mountain Island Charter tonight 26-14. Thomas Jefferson pulled a big one tonight by beating the Elkins Elks up in Elkin tonight by a score of 35-14. West Stokes beat Mountain Heritage tonight in a mild upset, 28-22. And it was Reedsville over Brevard tonight, 24-7. Robbinsville over Murphy tonight, 24-13. And Mitchell beat Swain County tonight, 38-6. It was East Forsyth tonight beating Lucy T. Ragsdale, 34-21. Grimsley over Winston-Salem Glen tonight, 32-8. It was Vance over West Forsyth tonight, 35-7. Richmond County and Myers Park. Terry, this has got to be a little bit of an upset tonight. Richmond Senior's tough, but Myers Park was like number one now. Richmond beat them 35-32. Terry, can you tell us a little bit about that game?
Well, it was a game that Myers Park led for a while, but then Richmond County comes back at the end. You know, Myers Park's got a lot of
D1 recruits.
They do.
Whose dads played in the NFL.
In the NFL, sure is. But, you know, back in the old days, and you remember this, when Independence was good and Richmond County was good, New Bern, Butler, they always competed for the 4 AA title, and now Richmond's back to what they used to be.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It has. But congratulations to them on that victory.
I remember Crest went down there one year, and the score was like 56-54 in triple overtime or something like that. But my memory is not what it used to be. It could be different. We've got a couple other scores here tonight. Ragsdale, we said, lost to East Forsyth 34-21. Grimsley over Winston-Salem Glen 32-8. Vance over West Forsyth 35-7. And the Big 16. Now, Terry, for our listeners who don't follow South Carolina football, tell them what the Big 16 is.
Well, the Big 16 is the biggest schools in South Carolina that compete for a state title of their own.
In other words, they have better facilities than most junior colleges and probably better players.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's Gaffney, Northwestern. I mean, there's a lot of teams in there that compete. Rock Hill, that's all in that. And, you know,
D2 schools use their facilities.
Yeah. But Dutch Fort defeats Carolina Forest 45-20 and Dorman over Gaffney 30-6. Both those teams will enter next week unbeaten. Each one of them, the only tie for Dutch Fork was a tie with Mallard Creek at the start of the year.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but they usually play that championship game down in Columbia at the USC Stadium.
They do.
And by and large, almost either one of those teams in that game could probably beat the Gamecocks this year.
Well,
maybe you're stretching it a little bit.
You know, that's exactly right, because a lot of people always
that's
say,
after Clemson gets through with them tomorrow.
But, you know, for Dutch Ford, that's Tommy Knox, former coach of Independence, that went down
former
there.
Former coach of West Charlotte.
Yeah, West Charlotte. Harding. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, he's making a move down there, and this is a coach who's not lost 100 games yet in his history of coaching high school football. So,
and is paid well for it.
Yes, he is.
The trip down south was a good trip.
Yeah, he took a trip to the bank.
I know a few people that has made that trip to the southern shores, and they have came out on the edge of things.
It's
and
sort
all
of like
they had
winning
to do
the
was
lottery.
coach football.
Yeah, and Question Gaffney may be looking for another coach, I hear. So, Will, maybe me and you could go down there and cash in on that deal.
I don't want nothing to do with Gaffney.
Hey, you might sell up some cars.
As far as us, congratulations to Kings Mountain, to Burns, to Shelby, Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah.
Congratulations to every one of them, you know, for moving on into playoffs next week. Thomas Jefferson has to go on the road to go to Robbinsville. That will not be easy.
No, Robbinsville is tough up there.
But on
multi-state
the other end,
championships.
Kings Mountain now a trip to Charlotte Catholic. That's not going to be easy.
Nope.
And then in our own backyard, for all the people of Cleveland County, it's right there. All you got to do is watch it. You know, just go over to Shelby, and you got Burns and Shelby playing again. What more would you want? You know.
Well, I would want Chris to be
in
that, but
that's
you know, if ifs
true.
and buts was candy and nuts, so very Merry Christmas it'd be. But Terry, think about 3 schools from the same county. I know the people over in Lincoln County and Gaston County get sick and tired of us talking about these, and they probably, when Crest got beat, they said, nah, 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 nah. You know, you talk about Crest all the time. But by and large, you know, Cleveland County has represented themselves well this year.
They do every year. I mean, you never take nothing away from them people. I mean, you know, for us people from Lincoln County, you know, to us, Coach Basil was knocking on the door.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
is West
he
Lincoln.
put that, you know, into overtime, you know, and then he comes up short. But congratulations, Coach Devine, up there for what he has done. You know, and we even said at the start of the year when Burns dropped from 3A to 2A, we said then they had a shot. I mean, I put them in my top 5 in the state of North Carolina in the 2A ranks because, I mean, they're that good.
But, Terry, the game I didn't get to see this year that I wanted to see and was hoping maybe would come about, and if you can, talk to your West folks and arrange it. The neighbors should play one another, Burns and West Lincoln.
Never have in the history of their football, you know,
and they right there. I mean, they're literally 15 20 minutes.
Sort of mirror images of each other in terms of their teams and schools and their communities. That would be a game, I think.
I'm telling you, could sell some hot dogs at that game.
Well, it's a game there also that you have to worry about injuries. I mean, both of them's going to be real tough up front, and they're going to hit each other hard. I mean, that's all it's going to be, run after run after run after
Smash
run.
Mouth football.
You know, tonight you got to give Sweeney a lot of credit. He had some big plays down the field, you know, for passes from Burns, and it really turned that game around.
Sweezy, yeah. Cameron Sweezy.
Yep.
He listen, that game was close, but it could have been. I mean, it was some drop passes that shouldn't have been drop passes that would have put them in field goal. But and the way their field goal kicker was kicking, this game could have been done way before the overtime. If it hadn't been for a few drop passes and Burns having a punt. But you gotta credit the North Lincoln Knights, man. They came out, they played tough, they played hard. I knew it was gonna be a hard hitting football game. I knew North Lincoln was gonna play physical. But I also knew that Burns liked to play that physical game. That's that they play. You know,
Burns
they
has got
turn
a
it
pretty
up
good
when
front.
So they turned it up a little bit when it started getting physical. So, but there was some drop passes and things that could have kept this game from going overtime. And not only on Burns' side, North Lincoln had some drop passes and things that didn't go right. But overall, good hard hitting game. Really good hard hitting game. I look forward to seeing that matchup again. I was hoping that it would work out where West would play Burns. I would love to see.
Well, what I want to see, Will,
that matchup
is the game that, unfortunately, this is going to be a good game with Burns, but I would like to see a West Lincoln Shelby game. Maybe you guys can, like West Lincoln and Burns can schedule,
and North
and Shelby can schedule. But Terry, we've been doing this for several years. We've gotten to know this whole situation here with the football teams. If I had sat here 2 years ago at this time of the year and told you West Lincoln and North Lincoln are going to be the football powers in Lincoln County, what would you have said to me?
A lot of people would have said no way because of all the success that East and Lincoln had.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like it's flip-flop. Don't get me wrong, East Lincoln's not a bad squad down there. Lincoln has got a lot to improve on. You know, but
they're coming. Coach Glass.
Coach Glass is going to lead them the right way if they just got to give him time.
Yeah.
You know, and
patience.
Oh yeah, and when you talk about how Cleveland County has a lot. If you daggum add Crest, Shelby, and Burns, their titles up against Lincoln and East Lincoln's titles. I mean, we got 4 over here. Been to the title game a few times, but we've got 4 titles. But on the other end of it, I mean, you're looking at 17, I think is what they got. If I'm not mistakenly, on this side, if you take Shelby, Crest, and Burns.
And, if it wasn't for Charlotte Catholic, Kings Mountain could get another one for us this year.
That's a tough thing you always have to say because every time you speak of Charlotte
Catholic, you can't write
Catholic,
them off. You got to play that game.
Yeah,
they do, but
they got to play the game, and I think
that's a different animal than they've ever played.
Hey, I get it, but Kings Mountain has been a different animal than anybody has seen all season.
Yeah, but Will, you've been to Keffer down there.
I
Them big
I
old boys
understand.
on the front
Yeah.
line, Terry.
I understand.
And they're just like a
But-
machine. You know,
You-
like
they Kings Mountain don't have babies playing up front.
no,
they don't.
And
No,
they got
but
some
don't.
big
Will.
old boys up front as well.
but you've been there enough to know that sometimes they get that home cooking down there.
Well, you just got to beat the home cooking.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things. When we went back, like my Coach Rupinall had went back, and he says, "Hey, you got to check out who they played. When you lose to Weddington, and
45-0.
yeah, they're still in it. And then when you lost to two teams that were outside of North Carolina, you
But
lost to-
ranked nationally.
yeah, both of them ranked. I mean, Charlotte Catholic, and the problem I have with Charlotte Catholic makes no mistakes.
Yeah.
There's the problem. They don't turn the
Discipline.
ball over.
Discipline.
It is, and that is tough to beat. And once they get ahead of you, it's hard to get back in front of them because you know that they're not going to fumble, they're not going to throw an interception, and when you're behind them, it's tough to get ahead of them.
But on the other side of that coin, if you can get ahead of them, they're not built
To come from behind.
to score quickly or come from behind.
They're not,
You
but I'm going to tell
remember?
you, they're not going to change what they're doing.
No.
They will stick with their game plan, whether they're 7 down, 14 down, or what, and they still going to grind it out.
One of the greatest high school performances I ever saw a player put on the field, Will, was a few years ago when Raheem Ledbetter was playing at Charlotte Catholic. That boy, it's like he run into a brick wall probably 75 times that night and wouldn't quit. Now, the problem was, Terry, the next week when they went to the championship game, the tank was empty.
Yeah.
They, Gentry and those guys were so beat up that they just couldn't perform like they did against Charlotte. They left it all on the field. They gave 115%. Great, high school efforts. You couldn't ask for more. But that's what you got to do to beat Catholic down there. And I hope Kings Mountain with Rakeem Mack and those guys and the receivers and the speed they've got and the quarterback they've got can go down there and win one for the good guys, in this case, the Cleveland County football legacy. And Kings Mountain, go get that first state championship. You got so close one time. You need to bring a trophy home for the city of Kings Mountain. Look at those facilities over there that you've got. Look at all that Kings Mountain people are doing to support you. Just go down to Charlotte Catholic and, surprise the world.
Well, that's what it would be, yeah.
Win that game down there.
And it's like another game that we also have over here where Watauga defeats Mount Tabor. But now, what's the next in line for Watauga? It's going through Weddington. There you go. I mean,
Congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, it does
You
not
won
get
the
it.
third.
Now you're going to come off that mountain and go down here into Charlotte. So,
And Weddington is
defending
sort of
champions.
the mirror image of Catholic in that they were beat for several years by Catholic, and they just said, sort of like when Shelby and Crest and Burns play one another and they get beat, they say, what did we do wrong? Oh, that's what they're doing. Let's do this. So Weddington has become very disciplined, and they've had a couple of brothers down there the last few years. I think they're going to Penn State on the lacrosse scholarship or something. Not even playing football in college, but they are doing fantastic stuff down at Weddington as they played Catholic. And Catholic is vulnerable, Will, but when they're away from that stadium, home stadium, they got beat 45-0 first game of the year. Wham. What do you see, Terry, in some of these other matchups coming next week?
Well, I mean, matchups that especially Cleveland County, a perfect matchup for y'all up there. And when you go to and let's jump down here to the 3A, well, there's Kings Mountain going to Catholic. We've talked about that one. And then we got Watauga going to Weddington. We also going to have East Surrey against Robbinsville. No, East Surrey will be against Mitchell. In that one, they're playing at East Surrey. That should be a good game there.
Yeah.
East Surrey's still unbeaten, and we also have to remind everybody every time we talk about East Surrey is the team that beat Reesville. 55 to 49 earlier in the year. So for Reedsville, they was down 7-0, but then they come back to win 24-7. Their next matchup will be against West Stoke over at Reedsville. Good luck for West Stokes. Reedsville will probably be moving on to another state championship.
Make it 21.
It is. That's what I'm saying. I mean, they've only give up like 113 points all year long, and 55 of them come to one team. So, you know, and then in the other brackets, we got East Forsyth against Grimsley. Good matchup there. And then Vance up against Richmond County. And that should be a good matchup, you know.
Well, Vance has been number one down there in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg area at times. The problem with those schools down there, like the Myers Park and the Mallard Creeks and the Vance, is they all play one another.
They do.
And then they come out, you know, with 3 losses, and you're going, how'd that team have 3 losses? Well, look who they played.
And it's a whole different story down there. You got to understand, when you start talking about Huff High School and Vance, Myers Park, West Charlotte, all the teams that's in Charlotte, then you go over to Richmond, there's one high school.
One high school.
So everybody goes there. Yeah. So, I mean, they're not switching around. So
one high school.
Can
and
you imagine if Gaston County had one on this side, one on the southern side of Gaston
even
County.
one in Lincoln County, Terry. Can you imagine one
or two
Lincoln
in
County
Lincoln
school,
County?
west and north together, along with Lincolnton and East Lincoln? That'd be a pretty good squad.
I mean, you know, and
East and North would have to be together.
Yeah.
East and North would have to be together, and West and Lincolnton would have to be together because they're in proximity.
Mm-hmm.
They're in proximity. But you can imagine the talent, the draw you would get if these counties would say, "Hey, we need to
let's just put Shelby and Crest together, and
right?
Burns and Kings Mountain.
Burns and Kings Mountain, and then
you couldn't go that way. You'd have to go Shelby and Kings Mountain, and Burns and Crest would be together on the other side.
Oh, us poor little country cousins. Yeah.
There you go.
Waco and Kings Mountain butts up to each other.
Yeah. But you couldn't go that way. You'd have to bump dadgum Shelby and Kings Mountain together from their side.
Don't give Shelby any ideas. It'll be annexed Kings Mountain. Because they like that new field over there. They'll just take up that surface and move it over to Shelby. Oh, well.
But congratulations again to the Cleveland County teams for moving on, and also Thomas Jefferson.
Well, Terry, this brings us to the point in the show I've got to ask you this question. Will, you are hereby designated the official referee. NC State and Carolina tomorrow.
Are you ready?
What's your thoughts, Terry?
I don't know. We don't have a chance.
Oh.
We got everything to lose.
Oh.
We have nothing to gain. We cannot be bowl eligible. For us, that's our bowl game.
But it is your bowl game. If you can beat the Tar Heels.
And knock them out of a bowl game.
Everybody walks around thumping their chest and saying, well.
But my whole deal for people who has not watched football, if you've watched State play this year, you'd understand. I mean, you know, there's one game that we was playing against Clemson, and they made a list of about 11 to 13 guys that was not playing, and we're playing freshmen and sophomores out on the field. And, you know, it's tough to compete, especially in the ACC and the opponents that you're going to compete against. I mean, you know. So
well, the injury bug has bitten NC State pretty hard this year.
No.
And we haven't broke. So,
JP.
Let's take a break, and we'll come back with more of the Terry Reinhardt Show when we come back.
Old Man Winter is starting to show its ugly head. Be ready for Old Man Winter by taking your car or truck to Car Pro in Shelby. They'll have your heater ready to roll, keeping you warm and comfortable no matter what the temperature is. Plus, they'll check your antifreeze. Just ask for the winter checkup at Car Pro in Shelby. And remember, get a set of 4 tires for just $200, and that includes mounting and balancing at Car Pro, 1520 South Post Road in Shelby, right across from Ingles. Like them on Facebook too. Now open Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday 8 to 6, Wednesday 8 to 5, and now open Saturdays from 9 till 3. Is your car's windshield cracking you up? Well, you may need to see the windshield doctor. That's Carolina Auto Glass, located at 408 South Post Road in Shelby. Carolina Auto Glass goes the distance to ensure your safety and satisfaction. And they will handle all of your insurance claims too. Plus, free on-site estimates are available, and they do work on sunroofs. Just call 704-480-1885 for Carolina Auto Glass, 408 South Post Road in Shelby. Open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. That's Carolina Auto Glass of Shelby. At Carolina Federal Credit Union in Cherryville, they treat you like family because you are. Making the most of your money starts by managing and growing your money. Come by Carolina Federal Credit Union in Cherryville and learn how you can protect your money and actions you can take. Plus, they can provide you with hints and tips. Learn more by visiting their website at carolinafcu.org or drop by their office at 1200 East Church Street in Cherryville. Become part of their family today.
And welcome back to the Ronaldo Automobile Post-Game Show with Dennis Davis and Will Boykins. We have Jeff Miller on the line, and I believe I just turned him on, so he should be on there, Jeff?
Yes, sir.
There we go.
Hey, Jeff, so where did you go to tonight?
I went to Burns at North Lincoln tonight.
Ooh.
Oh, man, you picked the best game, I think, all the games that came across the board. I think that was the best game to be at tonight. Tell us what you saw.
Well, it was definitely a tale of two halves. I think there was some missed opportunities by both teams in the first half, but North Lincoln, their offense was just taking it to Burns in the first half, and then on defense, North Lincoln, they were keen on Kewan Pryor, and Burns was just not getting much going, and then in the second half, it's like it was basically a message that Burns was saying Burns was saying to North Lincoln, okay, you want to take Kewan Pryor from us? We'll give you Cameron Sweezy.
Okay.
And our receiving core. And by George, they gave hang on for a minute, I'm stuttering. They got both Sweezy and Kewan Pryor in the second half, because once Burns saw that they were able to pass on him, that kind of spread North Lincoln out a little bit, and then that's kind of where Burns was able to open everything up, and defensively Burns stiffened and basically shut down Caruth and Beard and Brady and company, and basically they did not let them get much going. They did score a touchdown to make it 24-21 in the fourth quarter, but they left plenty of time for Burns to have the game-tying field goal. And overtime it was about some of the same stuff. North Lincoln kept on trying to go up the gut against Burns, and Burns was just ready for it, and North Lincoln had to settle for the field goal. Then when it was Burns' time, the first play in overtime for Burns, everybody was shifting left. I mean, Kewan Pryor, everybody thought Kewan Pryor had the ball, or Kewan Pryor, and Cameron Sweezy was all alone, and like a flash of white and yellow and light blue lightning, he took those 10 yards, and that's where we're at right now. Burns 30, North Lincoln 27.
Well, I knew that at some point that Burns was going to have to come out of that game and open up with the pass, and Leslie came through with a big play. I remember KJ Leslie had a big play. But I thought they had an opportunity to get it out of the way when they came out in the second half and took control, went 14 unanswered. I thought they had the chance to put the game out of reach, but instead, we had a few drop passes to the here and there, and had a couple of times where they had to punt. I know Caruth was not as dominant as he has been all year. And Beard he was being Beard, but the defense in the second half found a way to bottle him up.
Yes, and and North Lincoln, they just, they didn't have a lot of passing yards in this game, and and the defensive line was just tormenting Beard. for most of the second half. I mean, they just weren't able to get much going, and that's congratulations to Burns and Coach David Devine for making the necessary adjustments needed, to take that game. And then congratulations to North Lincoln, second year in a row. They made it to the third round of the playoffs, and congratulations to them on winning their first ever conference title.
Well, Jeff, next week you've got Shelby and Burns, you've got Kings Mountain and Catholic. Which one do you think you might be attending next week?
I might want to take a poll on this one because both games look rather intriguing. I'm not sure how Kings Mountain will handle Catholic. I know Catholic is maybe a little bit down this year, but Catholic is still strong. And Shelby beat Burns in the regular season, and I think Burns is going to be out for some payback.
Well, Jeff, take a poll on your website there. That's carolinavarsity.com, and ask the folks which game you should go to.
Yes, sir. I'm pretty sure I know who will win, but you know what? I'm going to still take a stab at it.
There you go. Well, Jeff, we've got Tom Cinefati standing by here. We appreciate your call, and give us one next week, whichever one of those games that you decide to go to, and fill us in on the details.
10-4, partner.
Thank you very much, Jeff. All right, JP, the man, the legend, the Bulldog himself, Mr. Tom Cinefani.
The man that got mugged after the game by the Burns Bulldog coaching staff.
Mugged?
Oh, I think they beat him up.
Beat
it was
him
definitely
up.
a horse-collar tackle on Coach Clark. As the game ended, I was waiting for the flag to be thrown. I'm getting too old. I'm getting too old to be grabbed by strong guys. So I mean, I'm where I belong in the broadcast booth, where I'm supposed to eat chicken wings and just run my mouth. But Coach Cogdell and Coach Devine and the guys, congratulations to them. Coach Beaver, Coach Goss, Mario Clark, a lot of them. Howard Sims has been out there. I know I'm missing a pile of others. Thurman Jeter, a bunch of them. They've just really done a great job. So I just got to have to tip my cap to that coaching staff. They've just done a fantastic job. And I heard Jeff talking about adjustments. And, North Lincoln came out. And I'm going to tell you guys, North Lincoln came out and smacked Burns right in the mouth. I mean, they should have scored a touchdown on the first drive, had it called back, threw a pick, stopped them on 3 downs, went right down the field again, stopped them again, went right down the field again. It was 14-0 before you can turn around. And really, it could have been worse. But good adjustments were made, and Burns did not quit, came back, 17-7 at the half. And then, they got the big play. They had Leslie on a big play and Twitty on a big play. North Lincoln forced them to do that. And, a good job by the North Lincoln coaching staff. And Pryor got his yards eventually. Had 8 yards in the first half, guys. 8. Count them. 8 yards. After he had 400 plus last week.
He was tired.
So they forced Burns to say, look, Twitty and Leslie and Degree and Sweezy are going to beat us. Pryor's not going to beat us. But that, unfortunately for North Lincoln, Burns has enough other good players to win that game, and that's what happened. Is Twitty made some plays, Leslie, Degree, Sweezy did a great job. I mean, they sold out to stop Pryor on that first down play in overtime, and Sweezy just literally, I could have scored that touchdown. I mean, he just walked into the end zone. It was wide open. So just a great job. Two great football teams. It really is sad somebody had to lose.
Well, Tom, you guys are going to be sort of like a bunch of fellas that maybe had a little too much to drink on Friday night. Saturday morning, you're going to wake up and realize, we got to play Shelby again. Give us your thoughts on that game.
Well, it's going to come down to can you stop the running game? I mean, teams have had success running right at Burns, and they try a number of different things. I know if you've watched them on film, they'll go 5 with their hands in the dirt. And then they'll go 4. Then they'll go 3. They'll move Al Goodson out on the defensive end. Then they'll have him at nose guard. I mean, they try a number of defensive line schemes, and it seems like eventually they figure it out. And it's not
the same one every week. I mean, it just depends on, are you playing a bigger offensive line? Are you playing a more offensive, a more, technically skilled? Like, what are we up against? But they seem to, in the end, get it right. And don't get me wrong, they did not stop North Lincoln the whole game. I mean, North Lincoln had 10-play drive after 10-play drive, didn't score on all of them. First half, North Lincoln 33 plays, Burns 11 plays. I mean, that's ball control. I mean, it's just, but eventually Burns did figure it out, and they made enough plays and slowed down North Lincoln enough in that second half where they definitely bent, but they did not break. Had the one touchdown that they gave up in the second half, but did enough to win that game. And once they got in overtime, I will say this. If it's 4th and 2 in an overtime game, I'm going for that. I'm going for that 4th and 2. And I know I'm not the coach, and I have an easy job where I eat chicken wings and call the game. But and the coach, I'm telling you, the coach has a tough job, and he's the one that's going to hang for it. No broadcast guy ever hangs for anything he does, but I would have gone for that, guys. I would have gone. You had Cerusse, you had Beard back in the game, you've had Williams, offensive lineman doing a great job. I'm going to call a timeout and say, hey, guys, get me 2 yards. Give me 2 yards, and we're on our way to a state championship perhaps. So, I mean, it's just, I don't have to make that decision. And I know if he'd have went for it, not got it, everybody's going to tell him to kick the field goal. But the momentum Burns had at that time, I think you have to go for that, guys.
Well, Tom, I will say this, too, that you guys got the touchdown to put it out of reach there and win the game. But I think one of the secret weapons that you had that made Coach Devine's decision to do that a little easier was you guys had Benfield, and he's had a good run on the kicking field goals and everything. So I think that's a thing that you may have against Shelby, that you have a good kicker there that you can, and get down to a close in situation and you can't get that 2 yards, that you might be able to use that weapon in order to beat a team down the road. In this case, it's Shelby. Tom.
You really got to talk about the North Lincoln kicker too, Fiore. I mean, he was a really great kicker as well. I mean, and he nailed the one field goal and all his extra point. And the one field goal he missed was it wasn't a horrible snap, but the snap was a little bit behind him, and the holder did a great job of getting it down, but he pushed it a little bit to the left. But he had plenty of leg on it. I mean, both teams, special teams, did a good job. There was really no long kickoff returns or anything like that. You're not going to get that far unless you play well in all 3 phases of the game, and both teams did. And like I said, it's just sorry that somebody had to lose that game. And I know everybody wants to speculate Burns and Shelby, and I don't even really want to do. I want to enjoy this at least for one night.
All right.
I want to enjoy this one, and then let's all sleep it off, and then tomorrow we'll start thinking about Shelby. I want Coach Devine and his staff and his players savor this one, go home, watch the rebroadcast of it, enjoy it, and they'll have to start thinking about Shelby by about Sunday afternoon after church. They're going to say, okay, let's see how we're going to beat them this time.
Well, Tom, if you're in the area on your way back from North Lincoln, stop by the station. We had some delicious sagebrush turkey, ham, dressing, gravy tonight. Fix Anna a little plate, take it home, and y'all enjoy another Thanksgiving feast.
Okay, I got to take this crew back to Burns. Anna had to drive her car up to Burns because we left at different times. So we're headed back to Burns. I'll see if anybody's got the energy. You may have talked him into a little. I had a few stats. Matthew's here. Hold on. Matthew's going to give you a few stats.
All right. Matt Royster, ladies and gentlemen.
What's going on there, Dennis?
Hey, Matt. What's happening, my man? Burns, fourth round. Fourth round, Matthew.
For all the marbles going to the state championship, what do you think, Dennis?
I think it's going to be a slobber knocker between the Burns Bulldogs and the Shelby Lions. Second time around.
Has 2 Cleveland County teams ever played each other to go to the state championship?
No.
I'm Terry, I don't recall right off in recent history.
No, not that I can
This
remember.
may go down as the biggest game in Cleveland County history. What do you think?
Well, it's certainly got all the makings. You boys hold up your end and the Lions hold up their end. We may be still playing this time next week.
You might be right about that. You might be right.
What
But yeah,
stats you got for us, man?
Stats here for this game, if you want me to
Go,
through
roll
it.
them off.
Yeah,
It's all
rushing,
yours.
Key One ended up with 147 yards, 29 carries. Sweezy had 2 for 12 yards in that touchdown there at the end. Passing, Sweezy was 6 for 12, 240 yards and 2 touchdowns. KJ Leslie with 3 catches for 153 yards and a touchdown. Kason Twitty was 1 for 75 yards and a touchdown.
1 for 75, 3 for 150. We know what the story was now.
Big time game out there. There's a lot of people said that Cam Rodden could throw the ball deep, but I think he proved a lot of people wrong tonight.
I don't know whoever would have said Cameron couldn't throw it, but his problem wasn't throwing the deep ball. He's always had arm strength to throw the deep ball. His problem was the touch passes across the middle, right there dropping the ball in on somebody. But he's never been. I've never thought that he was never one. I've never seen where he would ever be accused not being able to throw the ball deep, because he's had plenty of arm strength to throw the ball deep. It was just the touch passes in the middle that I thought he had trouble with.
I think there were a few people out there, we ain't going to mention no names. Tom had some conversations that said they probably couldn't, but like I say, he's a good quarterback and played a heck of a game tonight.
Yes, he did. He had 2 carries tonight. Both carries were key carries. One was for a first down and one was for a touchdown.
Well, that's not bad.
So I think the first down, it was 4th. I think it was 4th and 1. Am I right, Matt? It was 4th and 1, and he snuck it up the middle. Or 3rd and 1, and he snuck it up the middle and picked up 2 yards there.
Yeah, on that last drive, it was the 4th and 1. Everybody same situation. Everybody keyed in on Key One, and he dove across for the first down. You're right.
And then the second carry was for the touchdown. So smart play using Cameron Sweezy tonight. Coach Devine came out second half and changed the whole game up. So they've been talking about Coach Basil's second half adjustments all year, and he's been brilliant second half. Coming out of the second half, he's been brilliant second half.
Coach Devine ain't bad, though.
So Coach Devine came out with a game plan of his own. I mean, he comes out and scores 14 on that.
Oh, you got to tip your hat to Coach Devine. That was a heck of a play call there at the end of the game. We all knew that Sweezy had the run ability, and it's just a matter of picking a play that the other team, you don't think it's going to choose, you know. So you got to tip your hat to Coach Devine there.
Well, Matt, I'm going to take a point of personal privilege here. You and Tom have been doing the Burns broadcast for several years, and if we go back about 2 years or 3 years, it was not always the easiest thing to broadcast a Burns game, because you guys were not necessarily winning a lot of games. If I had told you 2 years ago, Matt, just be patient. Coach Devine's got a plan. He's got the boys training up to be a contender. And 2 years from now, you'll be playing Shelby in the 4th round to go to the state championship. What would you have said?
I'll be honest with you, Dennis. I would have disagreed with you there, man. I've seen these boys develop. This is my 4th year doing broadcasting. Some of these guys were freshmen. The seniors now were freshmen. Keywan Pryor, I remember seeing him a little bit when he was a freshman. And I've seen the way they've progressed. I've seen the way Sweezy has progressed. And, it don't surprise me. I knew last year that we had a real, real good team. And I think moving down the 2-way helped us a lot, go deeper in the playoffs. But, I think we got a team that can win it all. I think we can bring home a state championship. And I think we can beat Shelby next week. So, to say I'm shocked they're in this position would be false.
Well, I'm just saying it's the Burns High football program in the last few years has made a major leap forward, and I just want to see you guys stay there and be competitive in the county.
Yep.
If you can be competitive in Cleveland County, you can be competitive in the state of North Carolina.
Absolutely. I think it's the best football county in the state, no doubt. So, the winner of this coming week might have the advantage to win the state championship. So
Oh, definitely. I foresee a state championship game preliminary taking place next Friday night right here in Cleveland County.
All right, Tom's still here. We're riding down the road here, wanting to say a few extra words here.
All right. Put Mr. Centofanti on.
Okay. I want to tell y'all one thing. You do a great job of the post-game show, but I'm going to tell you, if you talk about two sorry ACC teams playing for absolutely nothing again, I'm turning off the broadcast.
Hey.
I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that right now. If you talk about that game again before Saturday morning, we'll talk about that maybe right before a commercial break as an, oh, by the way, they're playing today. But I tell you what, we had a great game in Lincoln County tonight, and we had a great game at Kings Mountain, and y'all are talking about some little puppies playing some wounded goats. That's what y'all are talking about. That's all.
Oh,
that's
Tommy.
All I'm going to say about that. And Will, I'm going to tell you what, your Packers are not any good, and we're going to break that down tomorrow on Saturday.
8-3.
Well, don't
8-3. Where your Browns at? 8-3. Where your Browns at?
do me a favor.
8-3. Where your Browns at?
You're 8-3 because you play the little sister.
8-3. Where is the Browns at?
That's why you're 8-3.
Tom.
We'll have this continuation of this discussion tomorrow. I am going down a road where I'm very likely to hit a deer, so I'm going to let you guys go.
Well, you be nice to Terry and his Cowboys tomorrow.
I'm going to be nice to Terry. Did they play? I think they got eaten for Thanksgiving.
Oh, my God.
Oh.
I
in
can't
tomorrow
wait
morning,
till in the
folks.
morning. I want you to be here bright and early.
Just remember, keep on driving that car straight ahead. We are in first place, while y'all are in third.
But I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.
Then we'll talk to you tomorrow, Tommy.
All right. Good night, Anna. All right, JP, thank you very much. Folks, I got a feeling the Mitchum's Kitchen sports talk show in the morning, Terry, will be a thing
We also
to
got
behold.
Kevin on here also, yo.
Oh, is Kevin over there? We got. Oh yeah. Where's Kevin at?
Kevin.
JP.
Kevin,
He's
go.
on.
Hello, Kevin.
Hello. You don't have Kevin.
Oh.
Oh.
Who we have?
You got Coach Pruitt.
That's
How you
it.
doing?
Oh,
Hey,
Coach
Coach
Pruitt.
Pruitt. How you
I'm
call
sorry,
How
Coach
you
P.
call
I thought
Coach
it was
Pruitt
Kevin.
Kevin?
That's all right.
My goodness, they got you messed up, Coach.
Hey, Coach Pruitt, how you doing? That's
good.
Coach Pruitt
I'm
of the Cherryville Ironman.
Yeah, almost back to Cherryville. Went and seen Thomas Jefferson and Elkin tonight.
Oh yeah.
Well, tell us about that game, Coach.
Well, former assistant of mine, Ray Barger, is the linebacker coach at Elkin, and got to go up to see him back a few weeks ago for his 40th year of coaching. And
Wow.
they did an honorary thing for him, and got to be a part of that. His son was my quarterback for 4 years at West Wilkes, and won a lot of games with Christopher at quarterback. But tonight, Elkin scored on the very first play of the game. Ran it about 65 yards right up the middle. Didn't look good for Thomas Jefferson. Game gradually went on. First half, pretty even game, 14-14. Elkin had the ball midfield, about 5 minutes to go in the half. Tried a fake punt, got it by about a yard. And then on the next play, player for Thomas Jefferson come out of the pile with the ball, running the opposite way, got tackled. And Thomas Jefferson ended up scoring right before the half on a 4th down play. The play before, Elkin was called for pass interference, and Thomas Jefferson was called for holding, so they replayed it. And the Tweety kid called a touchdown pass right in the middle of the field on 4th down, and gave Thomas Jefferson momentum. And really, they controlled the second half. So congratulations to Coach Cash and his group. And I've heard a little bit of y'all from the time I got close to Hickory, listening on WLON, and then I'm catching you on WCSL now. So got to hear a little bit. But want to congratulate Coach Ponder and the West Lincoln group. Saw Coach Ponder a couple of weeks ago, and got to speak to him about end of the year. And obviously, you're talking about an end of the year ending after Thanksgiving for the Rebels. So that was great for Coach Henderson, Coach Avery, and the rest of those guys. They work really hard over there. So proud of them. Next week I'll be heading to Weddington probably to see the Pioneers. Coach Havoc
Yeah.
South Pioneers playing Weddington again in the semifinals, and they're playing at Weddington. Last year they played at Watauga, and we'll see how Watauga matches up with Weddington this year. And that Shipley kid at the tailback at Weddington's a really good player, but Anderson Castle, probably one of the best quarterbacks in the state down at Watauga. So good luck to those guys.
And Lance Ware's son is playing for Watauga this year, Reese, and the coach was at Appalachian. It was over at Louisville now. His son actually moved back to finish up his senior year at Watauga and got injured and is not able to play. He was on IR, I guess you'd say.
Bryce hurt his knee in the Wilkes Central game on a kickoff coverage and hadn't been playing. But they had really prepared a kid. I'm trying to think. His last name is Watson. He's a big kid that they played at tight end the last couple of years and played at linebacker, more of a defensive than offensive player. And they had prepared him, through the spring. Didn't think they would have Bryce back.
Right.
So when Bryce got hurt, they just plugged him in, and really they haven't slowed down. And probably adds a little dimension of power from the fullback position, though I hadn't seen Watauga play this year, and I didn't get to see him play last year. My schedule didn't allow. But keep up with those guys. Dustin Curley's the athletic director. He's on my staff up there. Marshall Thomas, former Watauga quarterbacks on the staff, and of course Steve Breitenstein's back. So, and then Jason Phelps, who coached at Fred T. Ford several years ago. He's on the staff and a Watauga graduate. So, great group of guys up there, Coach Carr, and they've done a great job. So, but to see Thomas Jefferson playing at Robbinsville, that should be an interesting matchup next week because Allegheny gave Robbinsville some trouble last week, and Elkin handled Allegheny earlier in the year. So, that should be an interesting matchup between Thomas Jefferson and Robbinsville. And though I was following the score, didn't hear much about the game. It seemed like Mountain Island Charter really stayed in the game with East Surrey. Probably a game that a lot of people thought would be not as short a margin would expect a better margin, but obviously Coach Washington and his group did a good job. So our conference is represented well, and looking forward to see how Thomas Jefferson does next week.
Well, Coach, you mentioned several names of your associates, and I'll throw in one too. The principal up at Elkin is a former student of mine and was a fellow teacher over at Crest, an assistant principal over there, Joel Hull. Very nice guy. I'm sure you got treated well up there.
I met him back during my open week is when Coach Barber's 40th was, and I saw him tonight. I didn't get to speak to him, but I know who you're talking about, and we talked about his move up there, and I got to meet him, so he seemed like a really nice guy, and he's really enjoying his time at Elkin, I do believe.
I think it's a good place for him, and he loves the people in the school up there. His daughter's a good softball and volleyball player, so who knows? He's a big Clemson fan. Maybe, she might be venturing down that way. But let's talk a little bit about your situation at Cherryville for the upcoming year. What do you have coming back? What's your prospects?
Well, we lost a couple really good players on our offensive side. Jaden Blanton, school record holder from the year before, and our quarterback Dylan Harden, and Andrew Beam at linebacker. So those are three seniors that really provided a lot for our program over the last couple of years that we'll have to replace. And we do have quite a few guys coming back. I mean, a lot of them are role players. Interested to see how they buy into our off-season stuff and get ready for another season. And excited about a young group of middle school kids who are coming up. But, each year, during this time of the year, you just really, thinking about the past year and how you can improve some things. And then as we get back from Christmas and get ready for the second semester, we'll start putting a plan in place to get people in the right position to help our program. But a lot of guys need to step up, just like we had 22 seniors graduate last year. There's going to be a lot of opportunities and this coming year. But, like tonight, the area where Thomas Jefferson really, I thought, dominated Elkin was in the second half. I think their depth really gave Elkin trouble, and I think that's an area where we need to improve our program. And part of that would be to have a JV program again. This year, not having a JV program was something that, in a way, was a detriment to the program where kids didn't get as much experience in the younger group. But also, hopefully, they see the expectations that we have in our kids, and hopefully they'll step up to the plate. And next year, we have a pretty large 8th grade class who got a lot of work. And, of course, our coaching staff worked with our middle school team as well as our high school team since we didn't have a JV. So we're looking for some benefit from those young guys and still have that relationship with our middle school in the year to come. So that's the area I think where in the last couple of years we've kind of not done a good enough job, and that's something that we tried to improve this year. And I really appreciate my staff doing the things that they did to make our middle school program stronger. Tyler Beam being the head coach and Chapel Moss being down there Coach Miller and all the other coaches that were involved. So we're looking forward to that group coming, but also looking forward to the returners and what they can provide for Ironman football to continue building some of the things that we've done in the past.
Well, sounds good, Coach, and give my regards to Scott Harrell over there at Cherryville High School. Scott's, I know I used to be the chairman of Cleveland County FCA, and Scott joined us over there. And I understand his son's a senior this year. I think he signed with Mars Hill. So congratulations to Scott and his son, and best wishes to Cherryville basketball for a great season coming up here.
Yeah, I'll do it. We had a big game against North Lincoln the other night, big comeback win. I think Lane scored 51. And, yeah, he did commit to Mars Hill recently, and looking forward to some of those guys, continuing to compete on the basketball court. We have a few football players that do that and a bunch of football players that wrestle. So, that's something we really try to instill in our kids in our program. Get out there and, at a small school, a 1A school, you need all your guys to participate and do more than one thing. You don't want to specialize in something just to, make all of our programs better. So that's something we hope to see our guys do throughout the rest of the school year. So appreciate you guys, and hopefully we'll catch up with y'all next Friday night. And good luck to all our area teams that are still playing.
Well, Coach, it's good to hear from you. Thank you for calling in, taking your time, and hope you'll call us again next week and we can hear
all right,
more
sounds
from
great. Have a great one.
you. You too. All right.
See you.
JP,
Bye-bye.
we got anybody online? All right. Fellas, you want to take a break, and then
Let's take a break now. We'll come back in. Let's do the scores. Let's take a break after we get the scores out, and then we'll come back in and close the show out and talk about the matchups next week, and let's make our picks for next week.
Yeah, and hopefully Kevin will be back in range, and he can call us about the Kings Mountain game.
And hopefully Tommy don't get too mad about Dennis and Dennis and Terry over here talking about Carolina versus North Carolina State.
He's an Ohio Buckeye. I mean, come on, man.
He just hopes his team gets in one of them Final Four spots.
Undeservedly.
He does. Anyway. All
right, so tonight it was the Burns Bulldogs over the North Lincoln Knights, 30-27 in overtime. It was the Shelby Golden Lions over the West Lincoln Rebels, 42-7. That sets up the Western Conference Championship game.
Yep.
With Shelby, Burns going over to Shelby with the home field advantage in that. Burns will go to Shelby, and then I don't even see the other. I thought we had the Eastern side. We don't have the Eastern side up, do we?
No Eastern.
Okay, so no Eastern. So Burns will be playing Shelby for the Western side of the 2AA. It was the Kings Mountain Mountaineers over AC Reynolds, 17-10. It was a comeback victory, was it not?
Oh yeah.
Was they not down 10-2?
Well, they were up 2-0, and then it got down 3-2. I didn't know if they'd ever make up that margin.
Kings Mountain will be taking on Charlotte Cactus, which was winners tonight over West Rowan, 42-7. Charlotte Kings Mountain has to go down to Charlotte Catholic. It was Weddington 49, Northwest Cabarrus 7, and Watauga 35, Mount Tabor 13. So Watauga has to go to Weddington next week. It was Mountain Island Charlotte falling to East Surrey 26-14. Mitchell over Swain County 38-6. Mitchell has to go to East Surrey next weekend. Am I correct on that?
Yeah.
Mitchell goes to East Surrey next weekend in the 1AA. In the 1A, it was Thomas Jefferson 35, Elton 14, and Robinsonville 24, Murphy 13. Thomas Jefferson has to go to Robertsonville. Is that correct?
I believe that's what Terry told
Okay.
us earlier. Yeah.
So Thomas Jefferson goes to Robertsonville next week in the 1A. That's the 4A. It was East Forsyth 34, Ragsdale 21. Winston-Salem Glen, Foster Grimsley 32-8. That's 4AA.
Yeah.
Richmond Senior over Myers Park 35-32. Vance over West Forsyth 35-7. And in South Carolina scores in the Big 16 for the championship in South Carolina, Dutch Fort 45-20 over Carolina Forest will play Dorman, who was 30-6 win over Gaffney, and that's the Big 16 state championship game next week in South Carolina. So that's all the scores we have right now.
Let's take a break, and then we'll come
All right,
back and
so
wrap
we'll
this
take a
sucker
break
up.
and we'll come back and we'll wrap it up.
Since 1965, Cleveland Community College has been known for creating a fierce workforce. So it's no surprise our athletes will be fierce too. Introducing the Yetis of Cleveland Community College. We're fierce, stealthy, and a bit mysterious. Come see our team in action starting in September with men's and women's cross country. Softball takes the field next spring, and our baseball team comes up to bat in the spring 2021. Oh, and we're now accepting applications for fiercely loyal fans. Visit clevelandcc.edu for team schedules and more information.
It's your money. Don't throw it away. Save up to 41% on home heating costs with natural gas from the city of Shelby. Natural gas is one of the most affordable ways to heat your home. And right now, the city of Shelby is offering a $400 rebate when you install a new natural gas furnace at your home. Call 704-669-2520 and start saving on your energy bill today. That's 704-669-2520 or visit cityofshelby.com.
Former club members Denzel Washington and Jennifer Lopez for the Boys and Girls Clubs.
Every child follows a path in life. For many, that path will lead them to a door that gives them a place to grow, to learn, to belong, a place to forge their future.
You can change a child's future. Support your local Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
You can open doors for children to have great futures at the Boys and Girls Club of Cleveland County. Visit us at 412 West Sumter Street or at greatfutures.org.
Great gifts for Dad can be found at Cleveland Lumber Company in Shelby. Come in now and take 10% off select case knives. And while you're there, see how you can rule the outdoors with the new Makita couple shaft system in battery or gas-powered models. You just pick your attachment. Select from a trimmer, a cultivator, a hedger, or an edger. And Cleveland Lumber Company in Shelby has everything you need to get your home ready for winter. From foam sealant to faucet protectors to weather stripping. That's Cleveland Lumber Company, 217 Airwood Street in Shelby.
And welcome back to the Ronaldo Auto Mall postgame show with Dennis Davis, Will Boykins, and Terry Reinhardt, and of course JP on the board as usual. And we have a
JP.
Kingsman. What?
JP.
What?
As you can see, it would have been nicer here. Last ad. We got to add the last ad. I didn't hear last ad. Did you hear last ad?
I forgot.
I didn't hear last ad.
The time wasn't working.
That's because Joel wasn't here, JP, to keep you straight.
Oh, yeah.
Joel, talk to me, my man.
What a game tonight. What a game.
Were you sweating, Joel?
You know, we knew we was going into a battle. We just had to get it cranking in the second half after we played defense in the first half to keep it close. And then and the key turnover for AC Reynolds got them up to, after we got early 2-0 lead. Then they got a little rhythm. And then they got momentum back. Then they settled for a field goal. Then we threw a turnover, and that's what set them up. And so we were just sitting there down 10-2, and I said, "All right, defense, it's time to go."
and it's like they woke up.
So it was the defense that brought Kings Mountain back into the game tonight, Joel?
In the second half, it did, because it's like they shut us down in the first half, and we got them in the second half.
Well, what about tonight? Was it your running game or your passing game that allowed you to come back and get the 17 points?
Well, once we got in a little rhythm, after we stopped them in the third quarter, and they punted to us, and, we set it up, and once Michaela Mack and Brooks got a little rhythm, 3 to 5 yards here and there, just to wear them down, and key catches by Kobe Pacehour, Quick Davis, even I forgot our other guy, but number 17, and once they got rolling.
Go ahead, Joel.
Oh, I'm sorry. And once they got it down in the red zone, that's when Mack and Brooks just rounding it out the rest of the night.
Well, listen, we hear a lot at this time of the year about the line play. What did the Kings Mountain offense and defensive lines look like tonight against this AC Reynolds team?
Different teams has got different offense, and once, like I said, first half along the AC Reynolds, because once they got in rhythm, they was hard to stop, and they're basically trying to keep the ball away from us tonight. And I once they, because when it was 4-2 down at and around the 20-yard line on our And once they got, like I said, once they got in the rhythm, and then when they got that key first down on that 4-2 in the first half, they just got a little rolling, and that's when they settled for the field goal, made it 3-2, and then we threw an interception to give them the ball back. And like I said, they got in the rhythm, and it was hard to stop.
Well, Joel, I want to give a tip of the hat to Coach Lloyd and the Mountaineers tonight on your victory. Unfortunately, the prize is a trip to Charlotte Catholic. I know you'd like to have been hosting them at Kings Mountain at your beautiful new facility, renovated stadium over there and everything. But right now, you've got to go down to Keffer, and we've talked previously. I know you've been on the road about what it's like to go down there and play in that atmosphere. It's tough. Are the Mountaineers up to going toe-to-toe with Charlotte Catholic?
Yeah, we just got. I don't know how you go. I don't know how to do it. Just I don't know how to explain to get to. You just got to tackle them and hang on to the ball with these boys.
Say.
It's like they don't make mistakes in here. And, once we make one or two, we in trouble.
Well, we just had some guy slide in here with a Kings Mountain hat on.
You missed it, Joel. You missed it.
If you'd have been
Kevin come running down the hallway.
4.220 speed right there.
If you'd have been in your regular seat, Joel, he'd probably wiped you out.
I said 4.220, not 40.
Well, I had stop in Morganton at my restaurant, and that's where I was having my post-game show meal tonight.
All right. Well, if you'd have come here, we had turkey and ham and dressing and gravy, man.
I ain't had it yet. Andre told me about it. I got the boys, and they're emptying the truck now, and they're going to clean out the ham, I think.
There you go.
Well, Joel, I just now got to hear it. We just pulled in a second ago and we was talking. What did you think real quick about it's one of those Kings Mountain games where, they have these starts or whatever. They start off slow. They did this to Monroe, and then they make some halftime adjustments and some things change. But, even the guys up there tonight thought that it was going to be maybe even be like a shootout, and it turned into a defensive battle up there.
Yeah, it was. We just had to grind it out and to get a big win, and I'm just glad we didn't. Like I said, I'm glad we didn't panic and just. Because we got a good two-step back in the backfield, and I said there, I said if we stop them in the third quarter on their first possession, I said just don't let that running game get away. Just grind it to Mack and Brooks, and I said, man, because once we get a rhythm, man, we're wearing that defense down.
All right, Joel. Well, I appreciate you. And real quick, the Kings Mountain fans, you guys showed out tonight. The athletic director at AC Reynolds was very concerned with how many people were going to be watching our show, Dennis, and wouldn't come to the game. The Kings Mountain fans filled up the stands. They filled up the walkways. They filled up the ramps. They filled up the standing area between the walkways. And there was 20 to 30 people standing on the press box steps of the baseball field, watching looking over the corner.
At the press box, even the bleachers, it was facing the baseball field.
Right.
They was all standing there.
It was outstanding. It was an outstanding show by the Kings Mountain fans tonight. You guys showed up.
I was right beside the bleachers and faces the baseball field. I was right there beside the band.
Well, I saw you at some point, but didn't know it. I'll put it that way, Joel.
Oh yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, you going down to Charlotte Catholic next week?
I'm gonna try to make it.
All right, buddy. Well, be careful and have glad you had. I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving and everything this weekend.
All right, you too. Y'all have a good weekend.
All right, buddy.
And go Pack.
Hey, you made Terry happy, but
I'm in front of my Wolfpack.
Hey, did Appalachian win today?
I don't know. Did they?
I don't know.
Oh.
They were playing tonight at 6.
I was a little busy, Dennis.
Really?
Let me ask you guys something. I saw one of the strangest. I don't want to, be 100% with what I want to say about it, but like, if JP, is that
48-13? Terry said on the Appalachian game.
Yeah, I thought I heard something, some scratchiness. Did y'all see the last play of the Kings Mountain game, or hear about what they did? This was insane to me. Kings Mountain run the clock down with about 10.5 seconds left to go in the game. So they decided to punt on it was 4th and like 5 or 6 on the 40-ish, somewhere around in there. AC Reynolds sent 11. So all Kings Mountain had to do
was go get the ball.
The punt off, and they win. And that's what happened. They let Kings Mountain kick the ball. No one went and got the ball and just let the clock run out.
Oh, wow.
They blitzed 11 trying to block it. Now, even if you block the punt, the time could still run out with the ball rolling around.
Yeah.
So they gambled to block a punt with all 11 and didn't have a single person out, and they just kicked a line drive down the middle of the field, and it rolled and rolled and rolled, and they never – if somebody could have dove on it and saved 3 seconds and ran a play, they didn't do that. They had nobody back. They blitzed all 11.
And the clock ran out.
And the clock just ran out. There was a couple of Reynolds players out in the field throwing their helmets that were upset about, I guess, what had happened there.
Well, why was this the coach's decision
Obviously,
or the players?
Obviously, the coaches, they blitzed 11. There was a timeout call. They blitzed 11 because the first time they come out, it was like they ain't got nobody back, and then they called timeout, or Kings Mountain called timeout to redecide, and then they kicked, and then they come back out there again. They put nobody back again. We're like, there's nobody back. What are they doing? I guess they had. I don't know if they had confidence that they were going to block it with 11, but like I heard one of the folks out back from Reynolds like, what's the difference between sending 10 and sending 11 in that situation, and not having somebody back there to either call a fair catch or dive on it and stop the play so you have a play.
Well, that reminds me of a situation where the coach would always kick the ball short and give the other team the ball on the 45-yard line, so they only had to go a half a field to score, Will, but I'm not calling any names or anything.
The Dennis used to do that.
No. That was not a Dennis Davis move.
Are we ready for the top 5? Who's left? 4?
We'll do top 5 in the morning.
Well, we got 4 left. Thomas Jefferson, how about the Griffons?
How about them?
They're going to be playing at Mitchell. Is that right? Terry,
well, the way now, if I'm looking at this setting up right,
I printed out the seeds before I come out.
Robbinsville is number 1. They at Robbinsville.
Gotcha. I'm on the wrong side of the board. Gotcha.
So the way it's set up, the Eastern Regional Championship game is, what is that? North Edgemore? Edgecombe.
Yep.
High School versus
Northampton.
So North's going to win that one.
No,
if you pull for North, you're not going to lose. Thomas Jefferson is at Robbinsville, 3 versus 1. Robbinsville undefeated. Thomas Jefferson 1 loss in the season. Tarboro's the one hosting the 2 homes, And in the 1AA, the 1 is hosting the 2, East Surrey hosting Mitchell. And I guess that was Coach Pruitt that just called. I heard him on the line earlier. He was sending me texts during the game up at that game. Clinton will be hosting North. That's in the East. Let's get rid of the East. Keep on going. Keep on going.
You said that's in the East?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that one's in the rest. Reedsville will be hosting West Stokes, number 2 against number 4. And Shelby will be hosting Burns for a rematch. Was it 26-13? Am I right on that for this year's earlier score? I think I'm in the neighborhood with that.
So close, yeah.
And Burns beat them last year, so kind of a 1-1. Let's split it up and go to the state championship. That's going to be a big game next Friday night. I'm excited about it, but I'm half sad because I'm going to be at Charlotte Catholic, not get to see the Burns Shelby game.
Oh, wow.
Well, you can tune in on KTC broadcast.
I need a volunteer announcer for that game, so I can.
I think I need to go call that.
You want to go do the Catholic game? How about that?
Yeah, Kings Mountain.
Yeah, no.
I don't want to go call
Will and I are available. Our team is at home.
Yeah. We are available.
Y'all are available. If Jason can get the stuff plugged in, Jason got volunteers.
Do you think you can get Tim and Rob to do that game for you?
I don't know. I asked them to do the one tonight, and they didn't want to go to Asheville, so I don't know if they want.
Well, Rob was doing the pregame show.
Yeah, I got him to come in and do the pregame show because there was a cheeseburger involved from Mitchum's Kitchen. That's the only way I can get them in to come in. Well, just feed you. Jason, I'm looking down the hall. How's that food? Did you get some ham yet? Yeah, gives a thumbs up. It must have been pretty good. Had a great ride up there and back with the guys. 3 AA. Scroll down just a second, Will. There, Weddington is hosting Watauga. A lot of 1-2s held.
It's gonna be a good ball game. That's gonna be a real good ball game.
So let's go back. I want to go see who they playing in the championship. So Kings Mountain wins. They'll get Southern Nash or Eastern Alamance. One of them's going to be undefeated. They're both
Southern
14
Nash. Yeah, is probably the team in that one.
Okay, and then scroll up. Well, then in the 2 AAs, Shelby will be facing the winner of Shelby Burns will be facing the winner of Randleman versus Salisbury, and Randleman's 13-0, Salisbury 12-2, like the Bulldogs. Shelby, of course, 12-1, Bulldogs 12-2.
I started to say Randleman has had a good team. Back years ago, when I was doing some college ball, Randleman had a good football and a good basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
But the only kid that we were wanting to recruit out of that group won the ARCA 500 when he was 18 years old by the name of guess who? Kyle Petty. Yeah, Daddy had a better job deal for him.
Mom and Dad won. I think they won a ride along at one of the All-Star races drawing. They went to the All-Star races back in the day, and what they won was a ride along in the infield with Kyle Petty. Daddy got outside. He said he got out of the car and kissed the ground. They did the infield, like the roval that they do now.
Yeah, that wall was real close. Sometimes.
Got out and kissed the ground on that one. So next week, guys, we got some big games. I imagine we will be able to do the Kings Mountain Catholic game. I don't know, considering it's in Charlotte and it's a big market. One of the other companies may claim that. That's what kind of happened with us at Statesville.
Yeah.
But Statesville has that automated system, and that's why we couldn't do video with them.
Well, now Scott Neisler and I have covered games at Keffer before, up on the top of the press box, and
he actually mentioned your name tonight, talking about that.
He did.
I heard him talking to someone about that, talking about you and him doing games over there.
We got the Catholic coaches that were on the press box a little irritated because Catholic is not designed to come from behind Will, as we talked about earlier. And when they got behind, and I looked at Scott, and it was about 6 minutes to go, and I said, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, knowing they couldn't catch up.
Mm-hmm.
And the coach turned around and said something to us. And anyway, we let it go because the cameraman for Catholic was from Kings Mountain. Scott knew him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be there. We'll be there next week, no matter what, with a broadcast. Hope we'll get to the video on it, but we just won't be able to know till probably about Monday on that. Of course, we can't do the state championship games, but we will have audio broadcast, radio, and online audio broadcast of either Shelby and Burns are guaranteed go to the state championship. They will be playing in Wake Forest. The 2A will.
Oh, that's a nice place to play, Kevin.
The 3A goes to NC State.
Yeah, that's a nice place.
4A to Chapel Hill and 1A to Duke. So Jefferson, if Thomas Jefferson wins next week, they'll be going to Duke.
Are we going to cover
all the
Thomas?
games are on Saturday? I don't know about that.
Yeah,
we are just with the Rutherford County, just joining up with us on the radio station.
WAGY will be covering them.
There's a possibility of that we might be able to do that. We'll see. The NC State, if I'm not, as far as broadcast wise, a fan of the NC State broadcast. If you've ever been in the press box, it's a mile from the field, and
I have.
It looks like if you took a field and turned it, and you're looking straight down on it, like it's as high as you could possibly get, and you're looking down. It's not a. I'm not a fan of that view at all. It's a good. You can see everything, but you don't feel like you're even in the stadium.
Wake Forest
you're on the roof.
Wake Forest, on the other hand, is a small, intimate feel.
The press box at Wake Forest, I can't see anything nicer about. Like it couldn't be any better. Like Wake Forest is the perfect, and it's AstroTurf too. So whatever weather we have, the camera people and everybody down on the field aren't getting muddy and everything too. Here that tends to happen at the other fields. But I love broadcasting at the Wake Forest, so we're gonna have a broadcast there no matter what. NC State, I'm not that big a fan of it. I'll probably stay on the field. I might go down the field for that.
And we're not doing the 4A, but whoever's broadcasting from the Woody Durham booth will freeze their, off. Like Andy Foster
they don't have
did.
heat at Chapel Hill because they don't play in December and stuff.
Yeah.
So Woody Durham's box is open
air.
Open air. In college, college football box is open air. So you have to bring, if you want to not freeze during the championship games, you have to bring a heater to the Woody Durham box. They've got those old space heaters, Will, that were like in the ceiling and stuff. You turn on and you hear them. They've got those that come on, but I'm scared to hit that button and burn the house down.
Andy and Dan Greer and I were up there. And you couldn't the game for your teeth chattering.
Yes. Well, one of the Shelby games at Chapel Hill, I was not happy about being up top, it being that cold. I guess the wind was blowing right on us. But we're going to have fun at either one. Hopefully we'll get to go to both. We'll definitely be in Wake Forest in 2 weeks, and then maybe we'll be at NC State for Kings Mountain.
Just go ahead and book me down for that game right there.
Which one?
The 2A.
Oh, okay. You're going to that one. Kings Mountain, they got Catholic. It seems like they see them every year, guys, don't it?
Yeah.
It's just
Welcome to the Catholic tournament.
Right. And they're a 5 seed this year, and Kings Mountain had a chance if they got the 1 seed. We could have been at home right now, but they didn't take care of business against Crest and Huss.
Well, what Will and I wanted to see was them come to Sid Bryson and not play in Keffer and see how good they were on the road.
Right.
It's a different atmosphere.
They're playing in Charlotte than driving to the country an hour away, and it's definitely the Kings Mountain Mountaineers. The Road Warriors they have to do this year.
Oh yeah. Talk about a bad draw.
They're playing the second. Well, you got to win. You come in third place though. So if you come in third, you got to play the second place teams, and it's not ranked. It's not based on your actual. Like, hey, this is how good you are. It's the first place seeds get the first 4, and the second place seeds get that, and then so.
But talk about a number 10 seed, Kings Mountain.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I said it last. I said it. I've been saying it ever since they started the playoffs. The best 10 seed that has ever been in North Carolina high school football.
Think so.
Bracket is the best 10 seed ever.
It might be. Terry, how'd the picks go today? I can't see him. He's hiding in the corner. Where's he at? Who won the picks? Terry, Shannon, or Hunter? Oh, Terry. Where was Shannon? Oh yeah, Shannon wasn't here this week. Robbie was here this week. Robbie and Hunter and Terry. Who won the picks? Terry don't even know. Are you wearing
Terry
Catholic hat
picked
tonight?
West Lincoln.
Terry don't know.
Are you wearing a Catholic hat?
That's why he don't know. He's wearing a Charlotte Catholic hat tonight, and I know he picked North Lincoln to beat Burns. He's 0 for 2 that I know of.
Why are you wearing a Charlotte Catholic hat when the Rebels was right down the road playing ball?
It's Coach Catholic over here. That was his Halloween costume, remember? All right, guys, give the score. We're going to get out here. JP, play us away, and we'll get out here on KTC. You can see us in the morning. We got all kinds of fun things to talk about. I'm going to get down the hall and hit some buttons. Give scores, guys.
It was Burns over North Lincoln 30-27. It was Shelby over West Lincoln 42-7. it was Kings Mountain over. It was Kings Mountain over AC Reynolds 17-10. It was Watauga over Mount Tabor 35-13. Weddington over Northwest Cabarrus 49-7. Catholic over West Rowan 42-7. It was East Syria over Mountain Al Charter 26-14. Robertsonville over Murphy 24-13. Thomas Jefferson over Elkin 35-14. West Stokes over Mountain Harris 28-22. Reedsville over Brevard 24-7. It was East Forsyth over Radsdale 34-21. Grimsley over Winston-Salem Glen 32-8. Vance over West Forsyth 35-7. Richmond Senior over Myers Park 35-32. And in South Carolina, the Big 16 championship is set as Dutch Forts beat Carolina Forest 45-20, and Dorman beats Gaffney 30-6. And it'll be Dutch Fort and Dorman next week for the South Carolina.
And the winner will
Big
be
Big 16 state champion.
Tommy Knotts and Dutch Fort.
Oh, you said Tommy Knotts and Dutch Fort.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, folks, that's it. We'll be back next week for
the
Ronaldo
post-game show.
We don't fumble, no throw picks. I feed my linemen pancakes. So all